here we are at the American Toby Jug Museum, and upon arrival, the museum is open till 4:30, but the doorbell is not working, so we had to call Kevin to come let us in. You can see they got a doorbell right here, but it is not working. So in order to get inside, you gotta call the number. And here's Kevin right here.
Here we go.
Hey Kevin, how's it going?
Oh, pretty good. Who are you?
What's going on, guys? This is Erik with the Get Me Out of Here vlog, and today I'm at a very unique location, kind of a quirky collection that has been in a museum in Evanston, Illinois for several years, but it is the Toby Jug Museum. It is the world's largest collection of Toby jugs. Now, if you don't know what a Toby jug is, you're gonna know today. Let's go check this out. So there's just a little display case upon walking in, and then you descend this stairwell into the actual museum. Just descended the stairs, you can see they even have a little Toby jug doorstop holding the door open for the entryway of this museum. And here it is, the world's largest collection of Toby jugs. Holy cow, this one is huge. Look at the size of this massive Toby jug. I wonder how many ounces, fluid ounces, this thing could contain, because that is one big jug. Have you guys ever filled this up with anything?
No, we haven't. It would be quite difficult to drink out of it, like every other Toby jug in the place.
I can imagine that.
But
I didn't know
it
it
was
made
a
you...
special commission. It actually came up here in the back of a camper van from New Orleans. It was shipped to England from us. It looks really weird in the back of the camper van, like this little Toby character. Caused hilarity all the way up the highway, I was told.
It is incredible. From New Orleans.
Yep, from the UK originally, but shipped to New Orleans.
That's incredible. I could imagine if you guys had a celebration, this would be the best thing to fill up with
Depends what you're drinking.
the beverage of your choice, I guess. That's a good point. Now, a gentleman named Stephen Mullins started this collection. It's a collection that's been spanning 70 years, and it's still growing. It's still in the making. I have never seen so many jugs in my entire life. I'd never even heard of a Toby jug until I read about this museum a couple weeks ago. But it, again, is the world's largest collection here just north of Chicago, Illinois, in Evanston. So what is a Toby jug, you might be asking? And what is the difference between a jug and a mug? Well, I can help answer some of these questions. A Toby jug is a character-like jug that's been around since roughly the mid to late 18th century. Now, a lot of these historians and collectors state that it was about the time of the 1760s that these mugs got their start. And you can see, and actually I'll point at this one, the world's largest Toby jug right here. This is a classic characteristic of what they look like. You can see it's kind of a stout man holding a jug and a pipe and wearing a tricorn hat. You can see there's a handle on the back, which leads me to my next point. The difference between a Toby jug and a Toby mug is a Toby jug is for pouring drinks, where a mug is for sipping or drinking a drink. So that there is the difference. A Toby jug is a character-like jug, for lack of better words, that you can use to pour drinks. And this is the world's largest collection. Now, just in case you were questioning my explanation, they even have right here at the entryway a little pamphlet that explains where the name Toby may have come from to describe these jugs. It looks like the origin of the name Toby is a familiar form of Tobias, and it may have come from a couple different things. It looks like one suggests that Toby comes from the French word taupe, meaning to drink in excess. There's also a song, I guess, written in 1761 called The Brown Jug. And the song looks like it's about a thirsty old soul by the name of Toby Philpott, who excelled in boozing. And they've got the lyrics of the song right here. And there's a picture of the stout man himself with some kind of beverage, looks like possibly a beer or something. You also have some information here on how the collection and museum got its start. And it looks like 1947 is when Steve Mullins began collecting Toby jugs and became a fascination of his and a collection that spanned his entire life. Steve Mullins just passed away this last year in June of 2019. So unfortunately we can't meet him today, but at least we can see this immense passion that he had for this unusual object. I've never seen anything like this, and it's incredibly random, but this is, I mean, look at this. This is amazing. It just spans on and on and on and on, and every single one of these jugs has unique characters, animals, you know, historic figures, cartoon characters. I think Steve Mullins himself even has his own jug here.
There's Steve.
Oh, that's the original, the man that started it all.
The man who created this museum, who built up the collection from 4 pieces that he bought at 14. And he passed away this year at the age of 87.
Wow.
And his family commissioned that piece about 7 years ago of him. And the reason why it has a swimmer in the handle, swimming was his other great passion. And last year he competed in the World Masters, the age group 85 to 90 front crawl,
Really?
1200 meters, and he got the gold medal.
Really?
It was the first time he'd medaled in 40 years worth of competing.
And that was
so
the
it rather sweet.
same year he passed away too.
It was the year before.
The year before, but still,
it was within a year.
that's incredible. Wow, thank you.
You're welcome.
Now this is very exciting. I just learned from the curator here that the beer that is supposedly in the Toby mugs is called Stingo, and there's a brewery just down the street called Sketchbook here in Chicago, in Evanston, that is going to be selling this type of beer in 2 weeks' time, and they're actually going to have Toby jugs there on display that you can pour the Stingo with, and they're also going to have competitions where you're holding a Toby jug out, and we're going to see who can hold it out the longest. So this is all in 2 weeks' time that they're going to actually be selling the classic Toby jug beer Stingo at Sketchbook Brewery. I might have to come back and enjoy some of that myself. So the collection starts with the oldest Toby jugs here on display at the museum. You can see some of these are originals from the mid to late 1700s. They even have some ancient type Toby jugs up here. Now these up here are just replicas of Greek, Roman, and Peruvian jugs that may have been inspirations for your classic Toby jug later on. These down here are huge. So you can see these have the typical jovial stout man with a jug in his lap and that famous tricorn hat that was popular of the era, the late 1700s, early 1800s. You can just see there's all these different sizes.
The psychological impression that Toby jugs give, the reflection of society at the time. And if you ever wondered what males were like in the 1850s, not changed much.
I'm just gonna point to this and maybe you guys will get the joke.
It's described in the first book as a sort of drunken, leering slut of a woman. It's not a very nice description, to say the least, and you can see the features are not very kind. But if you look at the way the dress has been cut to sort of show flesh underneath, and look over the ankle. And
Oh, yeah, what does that look like?
Maybe
I guess
it's
you could
just
use
me.
your imagination a little bit right there, right?
But when you see 3 of them, it doesn't look like an accident. And it's very difficult to sculpt that by accident.
I can understand that. I don't know if this is YouTube appropriate now, but we'll see what happens.
Piece of 1820 history.
Looks like some of these were toothpick holders maybe, and this guy looks like he's picking his nose. Nice little form there. This one here has a toad hiding inside. Here are some more ordinary Toby jugs from the 1800s, 1810, 1830. And right below here, it looks like they've got Rodney Sailor. Must be another early popular character associated with Toby jugs. These are from 1800. Over here, they have a Darwin spoof, 1908. Kind of looks like a monkey. This one is eerily realistic looking. The Jolly Fellow. You could probably put that in a box and leave it somewhere and scare the heck out of somebody. And a clown jug right next to that one. Check out these face jugs. This one from 1830, this one from 1903. Wow, pretty wild. This guy's a little terrifying looking. Here is a gargoyle mug. Tete de Gargoyle? Tete de Gargoyle. I apologize. If anybody watching this speaks French, I probably butchered the heck out of that. And this mug is very trippy looking. Look at this. It's got like two sets of eyes on it. One is looking up. Looks like an upside down face below a right side face. That is, you really got to wonder, where did they come up with the inspiration for these designs? You can see here they have all kinds of character mugs, animals, a pig, a sitting dog apparently, frog, some elephants, another guy with a demonic grin. It's a cross-legged imp from 1885 according to that. Some wizards. A honey bear, so maybe for pouring honey. They even have a gurgling fish, according to this sign, 1900. And these guys have the spout right below their collarbones. Barristers, brown robe and green robe, circa 1900. We saw the world's largest Toby jug upon walking into this museum. Here is a cabinet on the wall that displays the world's smallest Toby jugs. These things, I don't even know how I can scale that. These things are really, really tiny. Like this thing is probably the size of a raisin. It's incredible to see the attention to detail on something so small. The craftsmanship to make this must have been very, very tedious and great. There's a penny right there, so that kind of gives you an idea of just how tiny these are. Standing next to an American penny. Here is a Napoleon jug, 1920. Among other historical figures, looks like generals, emperors from the late 1800s, early 1900s. Some clowns. I don't think the clown was an emperor. Here's a cool looking seahorse jug. 1970, so this one's a little more modern. I like that one. This one's kind of interesting. 1906, representing all knowledge in encyclopedias. That's a little outdated today. You can imagine Wikipedia being on the modern day version. No, this is actually not a Toby jug. This is an umbrella stand, but it still looks like it fits the theme. Be pretty handy in a couple months. Here they have Franklin Roosevelt Toby jugs. President Roosevelt, right above him is Winston Churchill. You want to pour a drink out of Winston Churchill's noggin. It's on display here. Here's a Douglas MacArthur Toby jug, and I love how all of these, they've got different sizes. You got the big heads down to the small ones. Some more jugs of historic figures, and here again there's Winston Churchill and Franklin Delano Roosevelt. They've even got his wheelchair that he's sitting on in this one. He may not be too happy that that's in jug form, but the reality is that's the way it was. a Joseph Stalin Soviet Toby Jug. What do you think you would pour out of that? Gotta love the bug eyes on this guy. Red Hat Frowning, 1910. Boy, that guy looks like he's seen better days. There are so many Toby Jugs. Look at all these displays of Toby Jugs. This is insane. I am surrounded by noggin-looking pictures in every direction. I gotta find a restaurant after this now to pour something with, and hopefully they've got a Toby Jug, because I feel like I can never pour a drink the same again after being here.
This guy. It's Portuguese. It's a strange shape, look on the face. It's an actual majolica ware, which is a high gloss, but they've done it with a sort of treacle running glaze, which is quite unusual, which is more, you'd see those sort of glazes usually 1820s, 1830s, so they were sort of like trying to go backwards in time with the treatment, but working with majolica, which was the rage at the time. And I particularly like the little drooling, dripping stuff coming out of his mouth for some reason, but it stands out amongst the others.
Okay, absolutely. Thanks for sharing. Yeah, that is kind of horrific looking in a way, the dripping, but that's what they're made for, is to pour, so.
I'll show you another one that's the anti-slavery movement. French 1863, and of course it all ties in with what was going on only a few years later, and it's a kneeling slave with chains, and you look at the back, you see the back of his feet coming out. This is obviously kneeling,
wow.
and yeah, it's pretty disgusting in its own way.
Yeah, a lot of attention to detail.
Yeah, those little
Kneeling slave,
little marks that
1863.
tie in with sad part of history.
So what's fascinating is a lot of these Toby Jugs have kind of stand as articles of history. You can see this says Peace 1919, the end of the Great War, the end of World War I, 1919 when this Toby Jug was made, so peace has finally come to Europe. I love this one of Uncle Sam, 1910. He's wearing the American flag and smoking a stogie. This does not look like a comfortable position you would want to be in. You can kind of see from his face that it's probably hurting a bit. But then I saw this here, it's a peg leg teapot. So maybe he's tricking us. There's no real leg there, so he can flex better than most people can. Here is a Mother Goose teapot set. You got Georgie Porgy on the left there for sugar. Simple Simon teapot in the center. Almost looks kind of Pinocchio-esque with that nose serving as the spout. And then you've got old Mother Hubbard for creamer right here, 1928. Look at that chicken, and oh my God, it's got a human face. You don't see that every day. A number of other animals portrayed. You can see they've got a snake coiled up, some more fish, some butterflies, and even rats. And up there they have Satan on display. That's always something you'd like to see in your home. A devil red creamer Toby Jug. Santa Claus in Toby Jug form. Red Santa, green Santa, or brown Santa. And above that is a skull creamer. It's pretty wild. Circa 1900 to 1912. We also have a little more demented looking genie. 1991. And the wizard next to him. These mugs here are more modern 1970s, but I just love the attention to detail on these particular jugs here. Very interesting. They even have musical jugs. Toby Jugs that play songs or jingles. You can see they're tipped over to show you some of the mechanisms and gears they have underneath. So you can pour your drinks with a little mood music. You knew they had to have at least a few Elvis Presley jugs. But on top of that, they even have Marlon Brando, James Dean, Clark Gable, Marilyn Monroe, Clint Eastwood, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. And the Beatles in Toby Jug form. Neil Armstrong, first man on the moon in Toby Jug form. I like that they have the Apollo 11 rocket and the moon serving as a handle. One pour for man, one giant pour for all mankind. Here's another Uncle Sam, 1987. Some Americana for you. Some Wild West jugs, Doc Holliday and Geronimo, as well as Annie Oakley, Buffalo Bill, Wild Bill Hickok, and Wyatt Earp. Some horror collection mugs. Here you've got Count Dracula, Frankenstein, and the Phantom of the Opera. You also have Quasimodo. Ooh, nice big zit right there on his eyebrow. Very appetizing for pouring drinks. You also have the March Hare from Alice in Wonderland. I also really like this Walrus and the Carpenter jug from Alice in Wonderland. Charles Dickens, famous author, here in Toby Jug form, and right next to him is this pretty cool looking Fire King and Ice Queen. Albert Einstein in Toby Jug form. E equals MC serve. In Ordinary Toby in Lego form. And I think it actually serves as a functional jug, possibly. They've also got some more modern day mugs. You have President Barack Obama, Prince Charles, Gorbachev, Boris Yeltsin, so some Russian leaders. They even have Morgan Freeman. I mean, Nelson Mandela. I knew that. Here's some more American presidents. George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, Theodore Roosevelt, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, Eisenhower, all the way up to Ronald Reagan, Bill Clinton, Barack Obama, and Donald Trump with an American flag handle. For all you Trekkies out there, they've got all the big characters from the Star Trek series. You can see, of course, Captain Kirk, Captain Picard, Dr. McCoy, to name a few. They've even got the Borg. Here's various pop culture, cartoon characters, Felix the Cat, Kermit the Frog, Cookie Monster, Miss Piggy, of course, Wizard of Oz, some Looney Tunes characters over here, Sylvester, Batman, superheroes. They even have Black Panther. So this is a new one from 2018. I Am Groot, Star-Lord. They've got the Avengers in Toby Jug form. Wizard of Oz, the Flintstones, Shrek. I can go on and on and on. I'm just gonna let you guys take this in. Xena, Warrior Princess. And of course, Mickey Mouse. You know, Walt was born in Chicago. Here's a 1935 rare Mickey Mouse. That's pretty awesome. And Donald Duck right next to him. Definitely does not look like the Mickey Mouse we know today. They also sell small Toby Jugs here, $10 each, so you can start your own Toby Jug collection. We have officially been Tobified, which is, I guess, an unofficial term he coined, but we have been exhausted out on looking at Toby Jugs all day long. So this is a good time. Thank you very much, Kevin, for having us here today. If you're ever in the Evanston area or in Chicago, this is kind of a hidden gem that they've got here in Evanston. It's a massive collection, the world's largest of Toby Jugs, and it's something you can't miss. It's bizarre, it's weird, but it is fascinating and fun. So thank you very much, sir, and it's time for me to get out of here. Here's Sketchbook Brewery. This is where they're going to be selling some of that Stingo
2 weeks.
You see they've got Toby Jugs, one right there, another one right there above the bar. I had to see if they had the Stingo beer today, and they don't. They don't have any samples on that for another 2 weeks. So 2 weeks from now, you can get the original Toby Jug Stingo beer here at Sketchbook. Until then, I'm settling for a IPA orange door that they sell here. So cheers, guys. It's a nice little brewery. 2 weeks from now is when they serve the Stingo, so I'll have to come back and try that then with a Toby Jug.